Hello, welcome back to our weekly astrological updates, our astrological weather. So, wow, we're kind of like right in the middle of this flux, this change. We're coming into kind of one of the last two Titans um, moving signs where we're coming into the ingress of Jupiter changing signs. It will go in next week. But what's interesting, we've noticed with Neptune and then with Saturn that there's this inner planet dance, happens. It kind of ushers moves into the sign, something like happens, and then the bigger planet moves in. Um, so this time we can see, here, let's look ahead just a little bit. See, we can see Jupiter right here at the last bit of Gemini, and we can see Mercury here just past the sun. Last week we had it Cassini. It just was in the heart of the sun. It's flying. It's flying. It's going so fast, and it's going to go over Jupiter, and then it will go into the next sign of Cancer, and then Jupiter will go into Cancer. So just check this out before we get into the specifics, because this is just kind of cool. So just um, watch Mercury here go over Jupiter and then into Cancer, and then Jupiter goes into Cancer, kind of ushers it in. So there it goes, and then followed by Jupiter. So it's kind of cool. Then we go back again. Let's see it in case you missed it. See, so it went over the sun. Let's go back a few days. You just see how the movie will get there. It's like, when was this? It was last Thursday, May 29th. So Mercury goes over the sun, boop, and then now it's on its way. See how fast it's going? Look, it's like two degrees or so a day. So it's getting ready to retrograde in Leo. So it's going to go through Cancer, and then it'll go into Leo and retrograde there. I know you're like, gosh, has it been 3 months since we had that retrograde? But see, as we go on into next week, we can see it goes over into the next sign, into, Mercury goes into Cancer. So it's going to go from, this area I like to call the think feel. It's going to go from the thinking being hyper, we're into this hyper Gemini stuff, pulling in information, talking, communicating, not communicating, um, manifesting things, writing things down, making lists, getting a lot of ideas inspired, and then it meets up with Jupiter this week. So it probably will ramp up, so right here on, next Sunday, it's coming in, right. Look, it's going 2 degrees in one day. It's like flying over that. So get ready for that. And then that's the next planetary change. Okay, so here we are back to today. So this is the big push, and then we're getting close to our full moon time too. So it's just a couple things just to keep in as we, I don't know, for me, it's like really trying to have a cycle, keep up with understanding the cycles. And it's not cool about the moon, and I've been really working more not only understanding its sign where it's going in every month, the going through the signs every month, but the phase, it's everything, we build up. It's like this ebb and flow. It's everything, this frequencies. And if we can start paying attention to these natural rhythms, I think we can offset a lot of the synthetic rhythms that we're definitely going to be moving into more, be bombarded with a lot more synthetic rhythms. So keeping the rhythm of your, the moon, especially, the moon time, people have moon times. Um, and you don't have to have a menses or be a female to have a moon time. We are just cognizant of the light reflected, the sunlight. It's all about the sun, so, but the moon is reflecting the light at night, and then it's not reflecting. So we're getting like more, when we get into the new moon time, we're getting less reflected sunlight, right? So that's like less light. Um, that means more rest, downtime, things hidden, things cooked, things bake, things, are more inner. And then as we get more to the full moon, we're getting more reflected sunlight, more sunlight. And then based on where you're at and the globe, in the summer, you're getting way more light on the full moon times. And, in the southern hemisphere, the opposite, the same thing here. In the wintertime, northern hemisphere, we get, less. um, hours of sunlight in the winter, so the extra moonlight, is welcome. So anyway, it's just reflecting that. I hope you can kind of get that. So just being in the rhythm of where is the moon? How high the moon? Where is the moon? It's right now. It's like we're going toward a full moon, so that means we're waxing. We're adding, wax, so adding a layer. We're getting more full. So we're like the half moon. I think last night I saw it was like the exact beautiful half moon, which definitely proves we don't have a flat Earth. You get that flat edge, um, with the shadow. It's just phenomenal that something so round you can get a straight line. That's what I meant, like a flat edge, a straight line right in the middle. It's like half, it's like half full. So on our way, and then it'll keep growing. It gets to the gibbous phase, and then it gets to be full, and then it starts to wax. I mean, wane. After the fullness, the wax is on, and then the wax comes off and it's waning, and then we go back down. So it's a cycle. So right now we're still building. And this is a really good time to continue to build as we're in this hyper kind of Gemini, the last little bit of this energy before, the sun and Mercury changed and Jupiter changed signs. So we're on the go, 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 right? Um, Getting all this information and then we'll kind of bring it home, right? So if we stay in this little bit of rhythm, um, the we're going to change signs. Mercury will change signs, and then Jupiter will change signs before right before the full moon. So be in that rhythm. We're bringing forth whatever it is. Bring your forth, your ideas, old things that you can dust off. Maybe that if you're not actively working on something, you should be bringing forth something. Maybe you had to come back to and bringing it out. So that's a big thing, and we're just kind of like riding that wave. So today, it's we got the moon in Virgo. Whenever I love Virgo moons, and it's going over the South Node. So this is the perfect time. Looking like a couple of hours. This is the perfect time to deal with getting rid of garbage, putting things in order. You know, um, yeah, making the list, being all Virgo about it. Making things neat, tidy, organized, where you can plow ahead. You can't have things moving ahead of you in your life if you don't know where shit's at. So getting it in right order, basically. So using this Virgo moon, I love Virgo moons. I just, it's like one of my favorite. I love Sagittarius. I love Virgo moons because it just helps me put in order. It's like it's so funny. My husband last night was like folding the top bedspread and folded it and everything. I'm like, what are you doing? He looked at himself and he was like, wow, look what I'm doing. I said, "Ah, that's Virgo moon for you." We both laughed. It was just like, he never does that. So anyway, cleaning up relationships, cleaning up your communications. That's the big thing because, we have all this Gemini stuff, in the Virgo and the South Node, cleaning up your communicative bullshit, cleaning up the way you talk to people, the way you accept things or you don't accept things. The way you get your ideas across or you're not getting your ideas across. This is just really, really important before this all shifts. This is like right on the verge here. So this is like exciting. This should be like bubbling with excitement. And then Venus here, sextiling Jupiter right now, she's moving ahead and we are both masculine signs, both outward type energy. So this moon, the Virgo moon on the South Node is kind of adding a nice feminine touch, filling in where Venus is having to put the pants on kind of energy. So it's all a real interesting balance. So today, moon, we get into a little square with Mercury and a little opposition with North Node, but I think that's just helping us maybe um, getting our speech in order, getting our emotions in order, because we got moon emotions, Mercury in Gemini, um, wanting to just go, go, go with the mind. So the moon here is going, hey, hey, slow down, not so fast. You're just like burning too much stuff. Slow down. You're going, I can't understand you. So I think the moon here, in Virgo, because it's like, it's like the sister area, it's the next exaltated or place for Mercury. So it's sort of like a weird mutual reception kind of a thing. But anyway, I think that definitely helps today as we launch into this next event. Sorry, it was such a long overwhelm, beginning, but sometimes you go down the slide, and sometimes you got to go up the big trek to down the slide. Right now we're just like going down the slide here. So, all right. So coming into Wednesday the 4th. Well, the one of the big things we got, just the end of well, a couple things. The void of course moon is early in the morning, right before the moon moves into the next sign. We were looking at here before the moon moves here. So if I were to go back, we have one aspect. So early in the morning, um, the reason I'm bringing it up because moon's moving into Libra, relationships, and it's void of course. It doesn't move into Libra until 9:30 East Coast time. So anything before 9:30, business transaction deals, talks, communications, talking, calling somebody, sending them a text or anything is not going to pan out. So I would wait till after 9:45, and then put that to your time zone. This is East Coast, United States time. So void of course moon, yeah, things usually don't pan out on that, and certain ones more than ever. So this is a communication one. Some you want to do that. It's like, oh, I didn't, it's like if you don't want the letter to get there, yeah, checks in the mail. Oh, geez, there's a mailed it there. Void of course moon. Silly me. But anyway, yeah, just wait till like quarter to 10 before you have any dealings on that. Maybe have a slow morning. And then we got the moon, going through Libra there, right? Early. See, that's gonna suck too. So just wait because it will oppose um Neptune, which will make things nebulous, and then it'll oppose Saturn, which will, kind of the moon there is gonna, kind of be harsh or wishy-washy at the same time. So I would wait, just a little bit even because, as soon as moon kind of gets past that. So here, let it go maybe after 12 afternoon and, but it get even past because here it's after 1 degree here and it's 3 and it's almost 3 in the afternoon. So wait a little bit there. Later in the day, if you can. But definitely after 9:30, then it moves into Libra, but then you're up against Saturn and nebulous Neptune. All right, then as it moves on, it will trine Pluto, which is kind of interesting here when it gets to 3 degrees. We're being like late in the afternoon. Moon moves past this crap, these oppositions here. And then it gets a little trine with Pluto, it gets a little blessing. It's like, yay, we're air signs here, and we get to experience the depth from above. I was like, you get a little altruisticness, maybe, midday into the evening. And then Venus is also, like I said, try or sextiling over to Jupiter. So that's bringing in, I think some ideas, some high spirited, high moving, outward type energy. You've got some attraction, fire, towards something, and you got the energy, that expansiveness. So I think that stuff will definitely be coming. It's the same thing I talked about in the beginning. So that's like ultra on steroids there. Coming into Thursday the 5th, a little bit of quieter day. All that stuff still going on. We could see Venus now just passes. I mean, she's riding here with Jupiter, but that's it's almost there. They're almost going to change, both of them changing signs. So Venus will be going into her own sign. It's kind of cool that they're going together, and then this will go into, well, let me just back up. Venus will go into her home sign of Taurus, which she loves to be there. Okay. Love, love, love. And just like she was, exalted, went back into Pisces, right? Ushering in Neptune a couple months ago. But now she's going to go into her home sign of Taurus at the same time that Jupiter goes into its exalted sign of Cancer. So that's like a win-win, and they're just kind of riding together here. At least they're like on the same bus, and then they get, dropped off at the nice location, and they both are happy going on vacation together, it's kind of speak. So that's really cool. But on Thursday we have Mercury making a sextile to Mars. So I really think, where is it up here? Mercury. There we go. By the sun, Carrie. Okay, 23 degrees. And then over to masculine Mars, 23 degrees. So see, look at all this masculine energy. Venus and Sun and Mercury and Jupiter and Mars, all these out, and then Moon even, um, a lot of outward masculine energy, even, Pluto. This is, this is very interesting. Uranus is the only feminine planet, we got the nodes, but the only feminine planet at the moment, before this changes. So a really precarious time in the world, June 5th, all week we've been like, we're on this precipice of war. We're like right on the brink, and we're on nasty brink of war, but I think a little bit, maybe some kind of relief. I'm hoping, June, when Moon is in Libra, over to Pluto, that we have some start to have some resolve. And then when we get that stuff moving into water sign, I think things hopefully will cool down. So this is a little precarious day here. Mercury's also square the nodes. So, but it's a mutable square. Mutable squares are a little mushy. They're not like a fixed square. So I'm like more hopeful. Sometimes it puts in a weak structure for something to form around. So that's kind of how I want to think about it. All right, now moving into, we got a lot coming in here. It's like, I feel like a landing in its crazy weather. Got a lot of turbulence going across your wings. Woo, keep the nose up, keep your nose down. Don't tip the wings. Okay, so coming into Friday, um, Venus moves into Taurus. So we get like we should feeling maybe a little bit more nice, uh, comfortable, secure, settled in a bit. Um, yeah, a little bit, but definitely, Venus will, we got now another Earth. Whew, we got it breaks off a little bit of that fire energy, but we got a lot of air, so we've got still some things. What else is going on? Mercury's right, I mean, Moon is right at the end. Oh yeah, I know that's going. Yeah, Mercury. Start over, Gary. Moon is right at the end of Libra. So it's been the last couple days you're dealing with relationships, relationship issues, partnerships, things between another person is maybe been coming up, communications. But now we're kind of coming at it with Venus. It's opposite there, the moon right here. So it's, it's Venus. That's the other sign of Venus is where the moon is at now, Libra. So this could be good in that you might be able to get across things maybe are better received, being, Venus now in her home sign, where maybe in Aries it was a little edgy. So ideas, communications might be being received better. And then when the moon moves into Scorpio, I think this energy next few days is going to be like two steps forward, one step back. When the moon goes into Scorpio, and let's just do that. Well, yeah, I'll just leave it there. Anyway, now we get intensity again, because now the moon is in its, it's in its fall position. It's not liking to be there. It's under microscope. It's like it's either you're investigating me, it's like, um, you always do that. Why are you, or it's clingy, and it's, oh, I'll just always, forever, never, you get those absolute kinds of things, these icky, sticky emotions, either you or someone else. I think this could be an intense moon like that, just because it's coming out of this relationship thing. We have this communications. We're at those end of the degrees. Venus was just at that critical degree, but moving into a good place. But still, things are still a little bit mucky. Jupiter's about to change. It's at that end degree. Mercury is going to be at that end degree. Uranus is like at the ends of those degrees. So we're at a lot of these ending energies, and it just makes for that type of maybe longing, clinging. Especially with Scorpio, and then love. You know. Clinging, holding on, thinking it's one way and it's the other, not seeing reality. We still have, Neptune, just starting to learn to be into Aries, not, just being all nebulous. So it's like you're just dawning, or it's just dawning on somebody that it's not that way. It is changed. I am different. You are different. We are different. This is change, whatever it is, on that level, or business. It's like this business has changed. We can't operate this way. We have to, we have to separate these types of industries. We see the problems in this business. We see all the holes and the corruption and the yeah the lies, and we have to make changes. We can't keep operating in a deficit in a negative direction. These things, I'm sorry, this has got to change. So this is what is going on top to bottom right now. This is a big deal. So this type of energy is in the mundane, and we're just on that precipice of change. So as we're coming into Saturday, anything else? Yeah, I think we talked about that moon. So we were right in this Scorpio moon. This is going to be intense weekend, coming into the full moon. I think once things, get to the full moon in the Sagittarius, and that we change into the water signs, it will be big. But sometimes right when you're on the cusp of things, it's just let me just leave it there. Okay, so Saturday, we've got the moon, opposite Venus, and then the moon will be squaring Pluto. So again, depth, it's still there, in Scorpio, and it's opposing Venus. It was when it first moved into there. And then it's going to be squaring, right when it comes into that sign, it does it right up front. Opposes Venus, squares Pluto. So that's like the depth. You get the moon square Pluto. It's like it's not like this, honey. It's not that way anymore. It's like I already told you. Um, that kind of energy. All right. It's intense. This is, I'm trying to lighten it up. It's an intense time, but it's also jovial. Again, we got all that mercurial stuff coming in, and all that newness and all that fresh stuff. So it just, it's different for everybody, but I'm trying to just give you the whole kind of collective, and where it is on your chart. But here we go on the 8th. Mercury's just about to move, out of its own sign now into a kind of, it's got to go into the feel and from the think. It's going to go from its head to its heart. It's all of a sudden going to get like, watch that, the information is going to slow down. Maybe you are going to have trouble with words or finding the communications, or maybe make sure you're upgrading your computer. Like today, I had to do a whole bunch of, get the C cleaner, go through and get the new update the drivers, and you got to do that every now and then. But it was like a big deal. So that kind of stuff's happening. All right. What else I want to tell you about Sunday? Anything else on Sunday? Well, you can see Mercury moving, it's just about, let's see, what is it? Almost 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, it's going to move into its own sign. So I like when we get to actually on here. Let's do hours, because it's going to be just a couple. Boom, right there. Late in the day. It's not quite 6 o'clock, probably around 5:30 East Coast time. It moves into here, and then into Cancer. So then ushering in Jupiter. All right, the last bit of this week. Just gonna have to, coming into Monday now. Do I have Monday? Just go to Monday. All right, coming into Monday, we have, Jupiter has moved in. So it's going to feel different. It's going to feel, maybe that's the thing. It's not only going to feel different, it's going to feel. And then, we're going to be coming into, as Mars gets a little deeper squaring over to Uranus. So we could have some sudden things, Mars, this could be accident prone. So just be careful coming into next week that you're not rushing around or standing your ground, or doing something stupid, or maybe being too fixed and then something breaks, because Uranus is at the end of that fixed sign, just doesn't want to be there, and it's kind of getting edgy, and then Mars is going to give it a reason to maybe fly off the handle. So watch that. Watch that energy. Okay, so that being said, we're at Monday there. So Monday, we could see the moon is coming, moon moved into Sag. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. We got another void, of course. It's starting in the morning, so like 8 in the morning till about 11 a.m. And then the moon moves. Yeah, it moves into Sag. Yeah, I already have it way late in the day. So early in the morning. Okay, so it's like from last aspect, after the moon opposes Uranus at 8 in the morning until about 11 o'clock. So we got a pretty long void, of course, moon So again, on Monday, again, on Monday, kind of Monday, don't make your deals, contracts, sign agreements and stuff that I wouldn't until after, after 11, definitely after 11. Then the moon moves into Sag, so that's what will make things change. So that this is a couple of them that I think are important. And what do we have? Then after that, then the moon will trine Saturn. So I think it'll be like, la, yay. But then Venus squares Pluto, but then the moon trines Neptune. So we get a little push pull there, and then Jupiter finally enters Cancer there. And then that gets us into the next day on a Tuesday, which we'll see next week. Will kind of be a quiet day. It's almost like a kiss and make up kind of a thing. It's like, I'm sorry, or I didn't mean it, but just be careful because with Neptune is still not totally bright yet. So all right, that is the week. We're coming into this, that our full moon, and you can see it's almost here. It'll just be, let me just give you a couple hours because we'll be there next week. Hours. So it's at 20 degrees. It'll be late, right? 19 it'll be like East Coast. It's, what, like 1 in the morning when it's down below the charts early. Okay, so thereabouts. Okay, so like almost 2 in the morning. Here's the full moon. Um, yeah, so bringing things to fruition now, bringing things that you're working on, use this last several days, this week here to, rubber hits the road, bring stuff to completion, because then you're into the simulating process and then you're in the get rid of what's not working and then we kind of start again. So this is where we're at, people. All right, it's a busy week, busy time. Astrology is so amazing. All right, until we meet again. Bye for now.